Hello everyone, it's Brad Wood again, and it's time for some more What's New in CommandBox 5. Now, this technically isn't really a CommandBox 5 feature, but it was sort of released in tandem. I have blogged and tweeted about this, but we have made some changes to the Lucee servers, the CF engines that are available on ForgeBox, to make it easier for you to test Snapshot builds and release candidates, as well as for you to use Lucee Light. Lucee Light is a version of Lucee that has no extensions installed, so no administrator, no Hibernate, no S3, no JDBC drivers, just the core of Lucee. It's very small and it allows you to add in only what you want. So this blog post here, which I'll have in the video description, sort of covers everything that's out there. To date, you've always used this this ForgeBox package here called Lucee. So when you type start CF engine equals Lucee, you're actually typing the name of this ForgeBox package right here. And we only put in the past stable releases and occasional release candidates, but now we have automated the process and we pull in every single snapshot build. And there's usually about 75 to 100 snapshot builds for every major version. Essentially every time a ticket is fixed and code is committed, the build number is incremented. So there's a lot of snapshot builds almost daily if Misha's working a lot. So we add all of those builds now to the ForgeBox package. So when you start your server, if you do server start CF engine equals Lucee, you're going to get the latest stable version of Lucee. So whatever the latest version of Lucee is that's stable, which as of today would be 534.80. But if you do an @ sign, you can kind of dial in what you want. You can do partial versions, Lucee at 5, which will give you the latest version starting with